Have you ever prayed for something and felt like heaven was silent? You asked God for direction. You asked Him for help. You asked Him for a breakthrough. But instead of answers, there was only waiting. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. And somewhere in that silence, a question began to grow in your heart. God, why are you making me wait? If you've ever felt this way, you're not alone. Many people think that waiting means God has forgotten them. But the truth is something far deeper than that. Sometimes, the season of waiting is actually the season where God is doing His greatest work in your life. And what you're about to hear today may completely change the way you see your waiting season. Because the truth is, God never wastes your waiting. One of the biggest reasons God makes you wait is because He is preparing you. Most of us pray for the blessing, but we rarely think about the preparation required to carry that blessing. Imagine receiving something you prayed for before you were truly ready for it. Sometimes the opportunity would overwhelm you. Sometimes the responsibility would break you. And sometimes the success itself could lead you away from God. So before God releases the blessing, He first prepares the person. While you think nothing is happening, God may be working deep inside your life. He may be shaping your character. He may be strengthening your faith. He may be teaching you patience, humility, and trust. Because the truth is this: the blessing you're asking for may change your life, but the preparation God is doing will transform who you are. And transformation takes time. That's why the waiting season is never wasted. Even when you cannot see it, God is still working. Another powerful reason God sometimes makes you wait is because He is protecting you. Waiting is often misunderstood. When people experience a delay in life, they immediately assume something is wrong. They think they made a mistake. They think God is ignoring their prayers. Or worse, they believe God has forgotten about them. But the truth is far deeper than that. Sometimes the very delay that frustrates you is actually the protection that saves you. Think about it for a moment. How many times in life have you wanted something so badly, only to realize later that it would have been a disaster if you had received it sooner? Maybe it was a relationship. At the time, you prayed desperately for it to work. You asked God to open the door. You asked Him to make everything fall into place. But nothing happened. The relationship fell apart. The opportunity disappeared. The door closed. And in that moment, it felt like heartbreak. It felt like God had said no. But months later, or even years later, you began to understand something. God wasn't rejecting you. He was protecting you. Because if that door had opened when you wanted it to, it could have led you down a path filled with pain, confusion, and regret. Sometimes what we call a closed door is actually God quietly redirecting our steps. Sometimes what we call a delay is actually divine protection. The problem is, we usually only see this clearly after time has passed. In the middle of the waiting season, everything feels uncertain. You question your prayers. You question your decisions. You question whether God is even listening. But just because you cannot see God working does not mean He is absent. God often works in ways that are invisible at first. He sees what you cannot see. He knows the situations you are walking toward before you even arrive there. He knows the people who will enter your life. He knows the opportunities that may look good on the surface, but could quietly destroy your peace. And because God loves you, He refuses to allow certain doors to open too soon. Imagine a parent watching a child walk towards something dangerous. The child may not understand why they are being stopped. They may feel frustrated. They may feel angry. But the parent sees the danger ahead. In the same way, God often sees dangers that are completely hidden from us. Situations that could break us. Opportunities that could corrupt us. Paths that could pull us far away from the purpose He designed for our lives. So instead of allowing us to rush forward blindly, He slows us down. He delays things. He holds certain blessings back until the right moment arrives. And while we are waiting, something important is happening. God is not only protecting us from the wrong opportunities, He is also aligning the right ones. Because life is not just about what happens. It is also about when it happens. Timing changes everything. A door that opens at the wrong time can create chaos. But the same door opening at the right time can completely transform your life. Think about the people who will enter your future, the friends who will support you, the opportunities that will elevate you, the moments that will shape your destiny. All of these things are connected to timing. And God's timing is never random. It is precise. It is intentional. It is carefully woven together with the paths of many other lives. Sometimes God is not delaying your blessing because of you. Sometimes he is waiting for other pieces of the story to fall into place. Maybe the right opportunity is still being prepared. Maybe the right people have not entered the picture yet. Maybe certain circumstances need to shift before the next chapter of your life begins. From your perspective, it feels like nothing is moving. But from God's perspective, an entire network of events is being aligned. Things you cannot see, things you cannot predict, things you could never arrange on your own. This is why trusting God during the waiting season is so important. Because when you rush ahead of God's timing, you risk stepping into situations that were never meant for you. But when you trust Him, when you remain patient, when you continue walking faithfully, even in silence, you position yourself for something far greater. You position yourself for the right moment. There is a powerful truth many people forget. God is not only the giver of blessings. He is also the guardian of your future. And sometimes guarding your future requires closing doors in the present. Sometimes it requires slowing you down when you want to run. Sometimes it requires silence when you are begging for answers. Because the silence is not abandonment. The silence is protection. God sees the full picture of your life. He sees 10 steps ahead, while we can barely see the next one. He knows which paths will bring peace. And He knows which paths will bring destruction. So if you find yourself in a season of waiting right now, if you are praying and wondering why nothing seems to be happening, remember this. The delay you are experiencing may not be punishment. It may not be rejection. It may not be God ignoring your prayers. It may actually be God protecting your destiny, holding you back from something that would harm you, and guiding you towards something far greater than what you originally imagined. Because when God finally opens the right door, you will understand why the others had to stay closed. And when that moment arrives, you will realize something powerful. God was never late. He was simply making sure everything happened at exactly the right time. There is another reason why God sometimes allows you to walk through a long season of waiting. It is because waiting strengthens your faith. Faith is easy when everything is going well. It is easy to trust God when prayers are answered quickly. It is easy to believe when doors open immediately. But real faith, the kind of faith that changes your life, is built in the moments when you cannot see what God is doing. Faith grows strongest in uncertainty. It grows in the quiet moments when you continue praying even though the answer has not come yet. It grows when you keep trusting God, even when circumstances seem to say the opposite. Anyone can believe when miracles happen instantly, but it takes a deeper kind of faith to believe when heaven feels silent. Think about the strongest people of faith you know. They are not strong because life was always easy for them. They are strong because they walked through seasons where nothing made sense. And they still chose to trust God. They prayed when they were tired. They believed when they felt discouraged. They kept moving forward even when the path ahead looked unclear. And through that process, something powerful happened inside them. Their faith stopped being dependent on circumstances. Instead, it became rooted in trust. You see, God does not only want to give you blessings. He wants to build a relationship with you. And relationships grow deeper through trust. When everything is visible and predictable, trust is easy. But when things are uncertain, when you cannot see the next step clearly, that is when trust becomes real. That is when faith begins to grow. Sometimes God allows you to wait because He is teaching your heart how to trust Him more deeply. Not just when life is comfortable, but even when life feels confusing. Because the kind of faith that survives difficult seasons becomes unshakable. It becomes the kind of faith that cannot be destroyed by disappointment. The kind of faith that remains steady even when circumstances change. Imagine what your life would look like if your trust in God was truly unbreakable. Imagine having the kind of peace that does not disappear when problems appear. Imagine walking through uncertainty without fear because you know God is guiding your steps. That kind of strength is not built overnight. It is built slowly, through seasons of waiting. Through moments where you choose to trust God one day at a time. Every prayer you continue to pray, even when the answer has not come yet, strengthens your faith. Every moment you choose hope instead of despair strengthens your faith. Every step you take forward while trusting God strengthens your faith. And over time, you begin to realize something important. The waiting season did not weaken you. It made you stronger. It taught you patience. It taught you endurance. It taught you that God's presence is not dependent on visible results. Even when nothing seems to change around you, God may be transforming something deep within you. And the person you become through this process will be stronger than the person who started it. Because God is not only preparing your future, He is preparing you for that future. He is shaping your character. He is strengthening your spirit. He is building a foundation of faith that will support the blessings that are coming. And when the next season of your life finally arrives, you will not just receive the blessing, you will be ready to carry it. So if you are in a waiting season right now, if you are praying and wondering why nothing seems to be changing, remember this: your waiting is not meaningless. God may be preparing you, God may be protecting you, and God may be strengthening your faith, even when you cannot see it. There are moments in life when the path ahead feels uncertain. You may not understand why certain doors have closed. You may not understand why the answer has taken so long. But God sees the full story of your life. He sees the future that you cannot yet see. And sometimes the greatest act of love God can show you is not giving you what you want immediately. Sometimes His love is revealed in the waiting, because His timing is never random. It is precise. Every delay has a reason. Every closed door has a purpose. And every season of waiting is preparing the ground for something greater. One day, you will look back on this season, and you will understand why things had to unfold the way they did. You will see how God was guiding your steps, even in moments when you felt lost. You will see how the delays protected you from the wrong paths. You will see how the waiting strengthened your faith, and you will realize that God was working all along. So do not lose hope during the waiting season. Do not allow doubt to take the place of trust. Instead, keep praying, keep believing, keep walking forward one step at a time. Because the same God who placed the dream in your heart is the God who knows the perfect moment to bring it to life. Your breakthrough may not come when you expect it, but when it finally arrives, you will see that God's timing was always perfect. So trust Him, even in the waiting.